So welcome, friends, and happy birthday to Pir Murshid Hazrat Inayat Khan. Here's his photograph sitting in front of yellow roses on our altar that is set in a circular universal worship form. So there's a candle burning already that represents God, that always has been and always will be. And then there are candles that are set around, I don't know if you can see these, that have different symbols for the different faith traditions. We're not going to be reading scriptures tonight per se. We're going to sing instead, because that's what we do. I think Murshid would approve. So I'm going to come back around. Are y'all in the room okay with incense?
Yes. I'll probably move to that side if we're going to leave it there.
All right. No. Look, I'm not going to do it.
Oh.
I'm like, look. Incense, it's burning. Yay, we have fulfilled Murshid's instructions. And now we'll leave it sitting there. Okay. We want you to be comfortable. That's important to me. Okay, friends. So we are going to begin with Murshid's melodic zikr. And so the words are La ilaha illallahu. This is that fancy Shruti box in the key of B flat this evening, if that's important to you. So you are welcome to join me in the movements for this that are the embodied practice that Murshid gave, where we begin by looking toward the left shoulder, sweeping down and across, and bringing the head straight up for La ilaha. And then coming directly down into the solar plexus for El, and then coming back up, Allah, and then Hu is intoned gently to the left into the heart. La ilaha illallahu, la La Welcome. Come on in. You're perfect. Your timing is perfect. Everything's perfect. The only thing I can think of that's not perfect is me not being able to find my document that has the prayers for you guys. It's not very helpful of me. Just a moment. I know. All y'all know the prayers. Well, except for those of you that might not. So, the invocation is in the chat window for you if you need it. Towards the One, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of Guidance. Amen. So, in honor of Piro Murshid Hazrat Inayat Khan's birthday, today we are doing some aspects of the Universal Worship Service. So, here is as much of the altar as I can show you at one go. I think that's a pretty good start, don't you? Okay. So this one candle, that you can't see now because I made you too short. That candle over there represents God, and we kindle each of these other lights from this one. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing the Hindu religion. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing the Buddhist religion. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing, I almost put that out, the Christian religion. Going around to the other side. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing the Jewish religion. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing Islam. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing the great goddess religions. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing all those who, whether known or unknown to the world, have held aloft the light of truth amidst the darkness of human ignorance. I should warn you before I twirl you around like that. Sorry if I just made you dizzy. For those of you who are in the room, we have taken to calling these missalettes instead of hymnals because they don't have music in them. And if you open to the first page of your missalette, it's a little missal, we will say the prayer sewn together, but not until I can copy and paste it into the chat window for our Zoom friends. Hello, Anne. Welcome. I don't know why. Sometimes the prayer psalm is too big to fit in the Zoom all at once. So just a moment while I take part of it. And then don't go yet because I need to copy the other part and be ready to give it to you when it's time. Okay. So if you wish, the words for the first part of song are in the chat window for you. Praise be to thee, most supreme God, omnipotent, omnipresent, all-pervading, the only being. Take us in thy parental arms, raise us from the denseness of the earth. Thy beauty do we worship, to thee do we give willing surrender. Most merciful and compassionate God, the idealized Lord of the whole humanity, thee only do we worship, and towards thee alone we aspire. Open our hearts towards thy beauty. Illuminate our souls with divine light. O thou, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, all-powerful creator, sustainer, judge, and forgiver of our shortcomings, Lord God of the East and of the West, of the worlds above and below, and of the seen and unseen beings. Pour upon us thy love and thy light. Give sustenance to our bodies, hearts, and souls. Use us for the purpose that thy wisdom chooseth, and guide us on the path of thine own goodness. Draw us closer to thee every moment of our life, until in us be reflected thy grace, thy glory, thy wisdom, thy joy, and thy peace. Amen. Keep putting things in unexpected places. Unexpected for me. I put them there and then I forget. Okay, so we're going to sing our way through the religions this evening. I know, you're very surprised, aren't you? Those of you who are in the room with me, there's a little insert in your missalette that has the words for all of the songs, except one I changed my mind about. I think I changed my mind about one of them, so you won't have that one. So the theme that I chose for our universal worship in honor of Piro Murshid Hazrat Inayat Khan's birthday is the central truth that is present in each of these religions. And so I can say more about it later when it's time for a sermon, but right now we're just going to sing, which is holding the place in the worship of the reading of the scriptures. So this first one is from the Hindu religion, and it is very simply translated as all that is, I am. Om hum so hum. And you are very welcome to add harmonies and make it as rich and layered and full as creation itself. Om hum, om hum so hum, om hum so hum, om hum, om hum so hum, om hum so hum. I'm gonna have to swing you. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to warn you again. Let me put you back. Okay, I'm about to twirl you around. You might want to close your eyes if you get motion sick. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of divine wisdom. I'm about to turn you again. Close your eyes if you get motion sick. I'm learning to be more thoughtful in my old age. I hope you appreciate that. Okay, for Buddhism, we're going to the perfection in the heart, the lotus center of every sentient being. Om Mani Padme Hum. So what I just said about it could, in some places, pass as a translation for this phrase, Om Mani Padme Hum. This is the Sanskrit pronunciation, though I didn't pronounce Sanskrit like Sanskrit. My father to say Om Mani Padme Hum is the Sanskrit pronunciation. Sanskrit, not Sanskrit. The Sanskrit pronunciation. Om Mani Padme Hum. That is all reverence, all acknowledgement, all respect offered to the center, the essence of every sentient being. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om. everybody. Seatbelts on. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of the divine compassion. That's why I'm confused, because I shuffled Judaism and Christianity. I lit the wrong candle, but we're going to sing them in the right order. Okay. I don't know why. I think it's probably because Murshid was trying to put them in the order of their history in chronological sequence. Chronological, is that the right word? That's not the right word. Chronological order. Like how these religions showed up for humanity. Okay. So Judaism, which predates Buddhism, but this is the way that he did it. So here we go. For Judaism, I changed my mind. We are doing what's on there because we just did 2 of them that are put you to sleep songs, and it's late and we're already getting droopy, and so we need to do something a little more upbeat for Judaism. So here are the words. This is in Hebrew, and this is from the Song of Songs, and this would translate most simply to, "Come, beloved, let us go out to the field." You like it? Come, beloved, let us go out to the field. And because our friend and wisdom teacher, Rabbi Shefa Gold, has worked so deeply and beautifully with the Song of Songs, and for this one, she describes it being about creating a vast spaciousness within the heart. That while the phrasing says, let's go out to the field, she says that it could more accurately be translated or interpreted as, let's make a field of open, abundant space within our own hearts. Let us create this atmosphere of receptivity, of openness, of trust, of safety, of goodness and rightness. Spaciousness is the field. So, because then, when we've done that, love flows naturally and easily. Okay, so this is a 3-part chant. We'll say the words, Lecha dodi netze hasadeh. Lecha dodi netze hasadeh. Yeah. It's written on your little cheat sheets there, and it's in the chat window for you if you need it out there in Zoom land. Lecha dodi netze hasadeh. 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 Lecha Lecha sada lecha dori nafseha 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 sada lecha To turn you. Are you ready? We're going to come on this side though because, as I said, I lit them out of order. Here's where we are now. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of the divine covenant. Turning you again. Is this fun? It's like a game for my brain. Probably more. What's that? Okay. So, going forward in the program and backward on the altar to Christianity. And I decided to get a little unexpected this evening. This one is from South Africa. And you know, Christianity is everywhere, not just in the Greek Orthodox Church. I know we want to think that all of the Christian songs are in Latin, but you know, there are Christian songs in lots of different languages because Christianity has taken over the world. Okay. Why? Why has Christianity taken over the world? Because the lessons are about kindness, about forgiveness, about mercy, about serving each other, about loving your neighbor as yourself. Have you heard that? I think I heard that somewhere once. That's what we're going to be singing. And it is, but the language we're going to sing it in sounds like this. Tanda, umelwane, njengoku, ba utsitand. Tanda, umelwane, njengoku, ba utsitand. Sorry, just a second. Oh, thanks. I did take my rings off so that I don't hurt the drum. And I put them in front of a picture of Murshid so he can make sure I don't lose them. He's supervising me as usual. Okay, so tanda umelwane jengoku ba utsitand translates to love your neighbor as yourself and love God with all your heart. Tanda umelwane jengoku ba utsitand tanda Jengoku Bautsi Tan Panda Umelwane Jengoku Bautsi Tan Tanda. There's a second part I'll bring in a minute. Umelwane Jengoku Bautsi Tan It's so fun having all of these sweet, beautiful, beloved singers in the living room with me. Thanks, y'all. Okay, I'm twirling you. Are you ready? Maybe I'll just carry you over here. I'm going to carry you over here. Hi. So I had to go all the way on the other side. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of divine self-sacrifice. I often change the word association with that one, but not tonight because it's Murshid's birthday. But I did trade out one of the traditions. The original universal worship had Zoroastrianism in it. Well, and I traded out Zoroastrianism for the great goddess. I hope you don't mind. Okay, now moving to Islam. This one has a few more words in it than some of the others in Arabic, and it is a testament. It is an acknowledgement of what we believe, of what we know, of what is inherently true, and we are willing to say so. So we'll say, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, which translates to, we begin in the name of God, infinite and ever-flowing mercy and compassion. And then we're going to add another phrase of asking for our own willingness to acknowledge and to experience this reality that there is nothing but God, and then to affirm that the nature of that one is mercy and compassion. So bringing ourselves fully to the emptiness and filledness with God. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma ashhadu an la ilaha illallah ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. One more time. Allahumma. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of divine unity. Our Sufi candle put itself out. I don't think that wick can be saved, but we all saw it lit, right? And you know that the Sufi candle is still lit, right? I could get another candle. Do you want it? Is it worth getting another candle? Well, Rahima thinks it is. She thinks it is enough that she's going to get another candle. They're on the counter right there. Thank you. Thank you. Shall we ceremonially light it again? This one now has very, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it has very melted wax that the wick has decided to take a nap in. And I don't know if I can get that out without making a very big mess.
That's why I didn't attempt it.
All right. I'm coming right back. I'm staying in the same building. Ta-da! It's like magic. To the glory of the omnipresent God, we kindle this light, symbolically representing all those who, whether known or unknown to the world, have held aloft the light of truth amidst the darkness of human ignorance. Karima said that's worth relighting.
Many times.
I guess we all agreed. We'll just keep that light coming. Light it over and over and over again. Okay. So, in honor of the great goddess religions, I put an S on it because there are great goddess religions everywhere all the time. And that's true of all of them. I'm always tempted to do that, to the glory of the omnipresent God. The Jewish religions, maybe there's just one religion, but there are lots of different expressions of it, lots of different expressions of each of them. Oh, I'm confused. Sorry about that. So this is one of the lines from the Charge of the Goddess. And there's a simple repeated chant, if you wish, that is, know the mystery. Know the mystery. And then the second part that we can weave on top of it, if we wish, is, if what you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. Know the mystery, the mystery. 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 If what you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. If what you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. If what you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. With what you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. If what you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. If what you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. If what you seek you find not within yourself, you will never find it without. If what you seek you find not within yourself, you will never Know the mystery, the mystery. Know the mystery, the mystery. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of the divine sustenance. The prayer Salat is in your handy hymnals, handy missalets, and it'll be in the chat window for you in just a moment. Oh. Hold on just a moment while I put the second half of it in here for our friends on the Zoom. Okay.
I'm not doing it for
You're
you.
not going to tell me? Come on.
It's not a problem for
Prayer Salat.
It's broken already.
Most gracious Lord, Master, Messiah, and Savior of humanity, we greet Thee with all humility. Thou art the first cause and the last effect, the divine light and the spirit of guidance, Alpha and Omega. Thy light is in all forms, Thy love in all beings, in a loving mother, in a kind father, in an innocent child, in a helpful friend, and in an inspiring teacher. Allow us to recognize Thee in all Thy holy names and forms, as Rama, as Krishna, as Shiva, as Buddha. Let us know Thee as Abraham, as Solomon, as Zarathustra, as Moses, as Jesus, as Muhammad, and in many other names and forms known and unknown to the world. We adore Thy past. Thy presence deeply enlightens our being, and we look for Thy blessing in the future. O Messenger, Christ, Nabi, the Rasul of God, Thou whose heart constantly reaches upward, Thou comest on earth with a message, as a dove from above when Dharma decayeth, and speakest the word that is put into Thy mouth, as the light filleth the crescent moon. Let the star of the divine light, shining in Thy heart, be reflected in the hearts of Thy devotees. May the message of God reach far and wide, illuminating and making the whole humanity as one single family in the parenthood of God. Oh, we invoked the rain, y'all. Isn't that wonderful? I don't know if you can hear it. It's just starting to sprinkle out there. Okay. So, in honor of the Sufism, the religion of the heart that Murshid brought with the language of his music, we are going to sing a melody that was composed by a contemporary interfaith, masterful Shirag composer, and the nicest person. This is composed by our friend Aliella. We'll say, Ishq Allah, Mabud Allah, that is, God is the love and God is the beloved. And then, after we sing that a few times, we'll add an invocation of one of the beautiful names of God that means love, Wadud. And Wadud is the infinitely loving, the continuous outpouring of love that never stops. It's like love as a water wheel that is continually generating more and more love without end. I hope this key will feel okay. Ishq Allah, Mabud Allah, 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 Ishq Allah, Mabud Allah. We invoked at the Meswaduda. Good job, everybody. We offer to the omniscient God our reverence, our homage, and our gratitude for the light of the divine truth. I haven't yet shown you the 8th most important thing on the altar. Well, it might be the most important. This is the chocolate cake that we brought for Murshid tonight. It is a super amazingly delicious. I don't know if you can tell because the lighting, because of whatever, it's kind of dark in here now. So it probably doesn't look nearly as chocolatey and delicious as it does in normal daylight. But you'll just have to believe us that it smells amazing. And we know from previous experiences that it tastes amazing too. If we were able to send the 140-year-old Pir O Murshid Hazrat Inayat Khan to the grocery store to buy cake, this is the cake he would buy. I don't have any authority to say that at all, but I bring full conviction. Okay, friends. So, this universal worship service that was originally offered to the world. I don't think I need, hold on a second. Sorry. I'm trying to make sure that I have the next prayer that I'm going to give you, but we're not going to say it yet because I get to talk with you for a little while. The universal worship service that Murshid offered was really a remedy for the aching hearts in humanity at that moment and the forms that people, in Murshid's understanding and his observation of the human condition, he felt that we had gotten entirely distracted from the point of religion and had gotten pulled into very strange directions that focus on pitting religions against each other and nations against each other and neighbors against each other. And he felt like it was time to break down those barriers and to start cultivating friendship. Sounds like a good idea. It's a good thing he started that work 100 years ago, so we could still be trying to do that work now. Of course, he also said that the same message has been given to humanity since the beginning of time, that it has never been any other message, and humanity hears it in the time, in the way that it's given, and then we forget and we get tangled up in things of the world and our own self-interests and our ego attachments and our greed and distractions. And so we lose focus, we lose that awareness and that instruction, and then the message has to be brought again. But it's not a new message. It's always the same message, but maybe this time it'll be brought in pidgin slang from Honolulu, right? Or maybe it'll be brought in Swahili, or maybe it'll be brought, whatever language it is that people need to hear, that's the language it will come in. And whatever personality people need to hear it from, it will come in that personality. That it is said that God appears to people as they expect to see her. God appears to people as they expect to see her. And it is not about what is her actual nature, it is about what is the actual need. That's what Murshid was trying to do in his lifetime. To explain to people these very basic, capital T truths that really should never have needed to be put into words, but we keep needing them in words. So just like we want a God with skin, right? We want to experience the divine reality in our tangible felt experience as human beings. And we want to hear the message and the reminders of the capital T truth in the language that we understand, in the words that will resonate with our hearts. It always feels to me like holding universal worship services is almost entirely unnecessary because the people who show up for them are not the people who need them. And still, the people who show up for them are the people whose hearts are met by them, who are interested and open, receptive. And when we show up for a universal worship service and we go, yes, this is what I know to be true also. I know that this is my nature, that I am everything, and that in the heart of every being is perfection, so I can respond with compassion. And yes, I know that if I create this vast spaciousness in my own being, I will have more kindness and more generosity to offer the world. All these things. I know that my instruction is to not just love my neighbor as myself, but to love my neighbor because my neighbor is myself. That's a little bit different and still exactly the same. Does that make it a little easier? Maybe. And then we can come back to, when we touch into the zikr phrase that we were singing from Islam, and this acknowledgement of what is true, of what we know to be true and we are willing to state. We say that everything lives and breathes within the body of God, and God's nature is love. You know what that means? It means you, Soma, are love. It means you, Karima, of course, it's your name, are love. It means you, Qayyum, are also love. It is your nature, and Murshid describes that the things that are our nature are the things that we long for with the greatest intensity and the most passion. Not because we're missing them, but because we recognize them as ourselves. We long for love because we are love, and we've become confused. So, hanging out with other people who are willing to light candles to even two different faith traditions reminds us of our own nature. It brings us into an atmosphere of solidarity, of friendship, where we can remind each other, we can be reminded, we can support each other, and we can take all of that inspiration, acknowledgement, and that remembrance out into the world. Then maybe we're a little bit more patient with other human beings. I noticed today, it was this morning, that my very sweet husband was telling me a story about the neighbor that I have the hardest time with. The neighbor that I have the hardest time loving. And it's not a bad person. This neighbor is not a bad person. This neighbor just wants to be happy, wants to enjoy life, wants to pursue the passions and interests and activities and sounds that are pleasing to that neighbor's soul. They are not the activities and sounds that are pleasing to my soul, but that doesn't matter. Now, what I notice is that my my husband was telling a story about this neighbor having fallen and injured himself. And I immediately felt compassion for him. I immediately felt, oh gosh, that sounds so scary and so painful, and I hope he's okay. That's just my thought and feeling immediately upon hearing the story. And I haven't done anything about it. I probably will. But I haven't done it yet, just because I've had such a crazy busy day. That's not an excuse, it's just the reality. And what's wonderful to me in noticing the quality within my own being, and you probably have something similar, is that even if there's someone that is hard to feel resonant with, someone that is hard to experience harmony between, that when we hear of someone having a challenge, that we can immediately feel kindness and wish comfort and peace and goodness for that person. That's a good response. So if you've ever had a moment like that, I want to give you a high five, but the closest I can get is to bring my hand close to the camera, and I don't want you to feel like I'm smacking you in the face. So you'll have to put your hand, not really, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do, but here's the high five. Please don't let it land on your face. Okay, so Murshid, yes, we have time to share a little bit more with you. So I wanted to go through and read to you. It doesn't really matter which of the yellow or orange volumes this is, because all of them include an appendix that includes the 10 Sufi thoughts. We're not going to dwell on them, but I am going to read them aloud to you as they are published in this version. There are many different versions that have been published. If you're here, they're also in your little misslets if you would like to read along, if it helps you hear them more fully. So you don't have to, every time we go through this, I tell people, and I'll tell you too out in Zoom land, we are not expected to memorize these. They are not statements of faith. They are not convictions. They are not prayers. They are thoughts. He calls them the Sufi thoughts. That's wonderful. It's a quality that expresses an idea, a concept, some values and understandings that are invitations for us. So you can see how you respond to these thoughts. You don't have to accept them. You don't have to agree with them. You don't have to understand them. But hearing these, studying them, helps get each of us to get a sense about the things that Murshid felt were important in conveying this message of friendship, of love, harmony, and beauty to humanity in the form of the message that he was given in that moment in time 100 years ago. I exaggerated a little. It was actually 101 years ago that he did the first universal worship service. So I'm sorry I shortchanged him. Okay, so these are the 10 Sufi thoughts, this one particular version of them. There is one God, the eternal, the only being. None else exists save God. That was number 1. I forgot to tell you the number. Here's number 2. There is one master, the guiding spirit of all souls, who constantly leads all followers towards the light. Number 3. There is one holy book, the sacred manuscript of nature, the only scripture which can enlighten the reader. Number 4. There is one religion, the unswerving progress in the right direction towards the ideal which fulfills the life's purpose of every soul. Number 5. There is one law, the law of reciprocity, which can be observed by a selfless conscience, together with a sense of awakened justice. Number 6, there is one brotherhood, the human brotherhood which unites the children of earth indiscriminately in the parenthood of God. Number 7, there is one moral principle, the love which springs forth from self-denial and blooms in deeds of beneficence. Number 8, there is one object of praise, the beauty which uplifts the heart of the worshipper through all aspects, from the seen to the unseen. Number 9, there is one truth, the true knowledge of our being, within and without, which is the essence of all wisdom. And number 10, there is one path, the annihilation of the false ego in the real, which raises the mortal to immortality, and in which resides all perfection. Thank you, Murshid. There are a couple more things I would like to share with you in words, but first I'd like to just have a minute or two of silence to breathe the atmosphere of Murshid's 10 Sufi thoughts, to breathe in respect, acknowledgement, and gratitude for Murshid's work and his living heart. Thank you. If I were to try to sum up I want to call it the theme that Murshid keeps coming back to in different ways, but of course I'm immediately going to contradict that Murshid talked endlessly about rhythm, which really means balance. It's not stagnation, it's not stillness, it's movement, it's activity between one thing and the other, and one thing and the other, one thing and the other, so that we are constantly in motion, because motion is life and stillness is death. That doesn't mean that you can't sit still or try to rest in stillness, but you don't stay there. If you stay there, you die, or you've already died. So everything is movement, and it's balance and rhythm between one thing and another, between activity and repose, between discipline and indifference. Those are the words that Murshid used to describe the wings of the heart with wings. They're balanced. discipline and indifference. And you could think about those things, discipline as being an attachment and a consistent concentration, and indifference as being unattachment and relaxed and spacious. So between these things, we are constantly trying to navigate life. And that means life in the world and also life in the infinite. So we are each invited to find our right balance in that is continually shifting with the circumstances and the realities of the world and life around us. So we got to stay on our toes. We don't got to stay on our toes, but if we don't stay on our toes, we'll land on our asses. Those are our options. On your toes, on your ass. Murshid would never have said that. That's totally Sarah. Okay. So one of the things I tremendously delight in about Murshid is that he absolutely relished and celebrated things of the world, that he really did enjoy cake. And the stories that people told about him were about him enjoying a good meal, enjoying food, enjoying the delicious tastes and fragrances and colors and beauty. It was not negating or trying to transcend or escape the worldly life. It was to enjoy the worldly life, knowing that it is temporal. That means that we can enjoy it and really should enjoy it even more, because it's not going to last. But you're not here. You haven't been given the access and all of these sensory experiences, functions, and organs in your being so that you could ignore them. So we use them and enjoy them. And we also develop a healthy awareness of them that is, what does he say, like cutting through the illusions. He says to deal with our own shortcomings with a sword of self-respect. That means that there is an unflinching willingness to pierce through the entanglements and find what's really abiding, eternal, capital R, real. So we have the tremendous privilege and opportunity to enjoy and explore and find our unique rhythm and balance within the circumstances of life and in the context of the eternal soul. Thank you, Murshid. And Amin. So we'll have a closing prayer and then a closing blessing, and then we'll have cake, because Murshid would want us to. If Murshid were here, he probably would have eaten the cake before we even started the service. I wonder, do you think? I don't know either.
We do have two of them.
We do, one before the service, one after. Okay, the prayer khatum is in the window for you if you wish, or it's on the second page of your missalet if you want. O thou, who art the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the Lord of heaven and earth, open our hearts that we may hear thy voice, which constantly cometh from within. Disclose to us thy divine light, which is hidden in our souls, that we may know and understand life better. Most merciful and compassionate God, give us thy great goodness. Teach us thy loving forgiveness. Raise us above the distinctions and differences which divide. Send us the peace of thy divine Spirit, and unite us all in thy perfect being. Amen. Okay, friends. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide with you. May God's presence illuminate your hearts, now and forevermore.